It was supposed to be just another warm summer evening in Tel Aviv. June 13th, 2025. Kids were out late, cafes were buzzing, that golden haze hung over the city, the kind that makes life feel simple, normal. And then, in a flash, everything flipped. The skyline lit up, not fireworks, missile trails, sirens, panic. The streets went dead silent, whole neighborhoods shifted into survival mode. Parents are grabbing their kids, strangers diving into stairwells. It wasn't fear, it was pure instinct. But here's the thing. This wasn't just another flare-up in the Middle East. This was different. This was historic. Because for the first time ever, Iran didn't hide behind proxies. No Hezbollah, no Hamas, no Houthis, just Tehran, firing directly at Israel. And yeah, we'll get into how that changed everything. And later I'll break down how China may be quietly profiting from this chaos, maybe even fueling it from behind the scenes. But to understand how we got here, you've got to rewind. For decades, Iran played puppet master. Hezbollah in Lebanon with over 150,000 rockets pointed at Israel. Hamas in Gaza launching thousands more. The Houthis in Yemen flying kamikaze drones through the Red Sea like it's a test range. Iran armed them, trained them, funded them, but always denied it, always stayed in the shadows. That ended on June 13th. That night, Iran fired more than a dozen mid-range ballistic missiles directly at Tel Aviv and Haifa. No middlemen, no plausible deniability, just Iran owning it. And the world froze. Israel didn't flinch. Within 24 hours, Israeli jets were in the sky. Counterstrikes hit Iran's nuclear heart. Natanz, Isfahan, Fordo, these aren't ordinary sites. These are fortified bunkers dug deep into mountains, housing centrifuges, spinning uranium to near weapons-grade levels. Cyber units kicked in. Iranian radar went dark, missile silos flattened, airfields disabled. By the time the sun came up, global TV screens were lit with live feeds of targets burning across central Iran. But this war wasn't going to stay in the sky. It shifted fast, from missiles to markets, from impact to economics. Because sitting right next to Iran's southern border is the Strait of Hormuz, a 21-mile wide pinch point that moves nearly 20% of all oil traded globally. 1 out of every 5 barrels. And Tehran owns the coastline. After the Tel Aviv strike, Iranian naval activity exploded. Drones flying low over shipping lanes, tankers reporting GPS blackouts, jamming, spoofing, communications interference. Then came the move that shook global logistics. Frontline Limited, one of the largest shipping companies in the world, pulled its entire fleet from the Gulf overnight. That's not just a disruption, that's a financial earthquake. Oil markets panicked. 2 weeks ago, crude was trading at $83 per barrel. Today, $107. Analysts are already whispering numbers we haven't seen since the Gulf War. $150 per barrel possible. US gas prices shot up nearly 70 cents. Premium in California, over $6.50. In Europe, countries began rationing diesel. Global freight rates jumped more than 200%, something we haven't seen since peak COVID supply chain chaos. In the Red Sea, things got worse. Houthis backed by Iran resumed their harassment of Western shipping. What used to take 10 days to move goods now takes 3 weeks. And the ripple effect? You don't feel it until your Amazon order is delayed by a month, or your grocery bill climbs $40, or your summer flight jumps $300 overnight. And while politicians were scrambling, markets weren't fooled. The Dow dropped 700 points after the initial missile barrage. Global shipping companies lost billions in value overnight. Inflation, something we thought we'd finally put behind us, is back with a vengeance. This isn't just a battle between two countries. This is a clash between two systems, two survival strategies. On one side, Israel, a cyber superpower, a tech leader, backed by $3.8 billion a year in US military aid. They build chips, dominate aerospace, and monitor everything from space to signal. On the other, Iran, sanctioned, cornered, but dangerously creative. Iran's built a ghost fleet, over 200 tankers sailing with fake IDs, spoofed GPS coordinates, and no digital footprint. They move billions of dollars of oil, mostly to China, dodging every bank and every sanction. They're not playing to win, they're playing to last. And then came June 21st, Operation Midnight Hammer. 7. B-2 Spirit stealth bombers lifted off from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri. 18 hours in the air, mid-air refueling. Radar cloaked. Their target? Iran's nuclear infrastructure. They dropped 14 30,000-pound GBU-57 bunker buster bombs, designed to slice through concrete and mountain rock like butter. At the same time, U.S. Navy submarines lurking in the Arabian Sea launched Tomahawk cruise missiles at radar facilities near Isfahan. This wasn't just a retaliation, it was a statement. Don't touch the oil. You might wonder, why is the US even involved in all this? Why send bombers halfway across the planet over a regional fight? Because it's not just about Israel or Iran, it's about the fuel that keeps America running. Planes, trucks, data centers, supply chains. When oil is threatened, the entire US economy is on the line. America doesn't go to war for drama, it moves when survival's at stake. A 21-mile waterway like Hormuz carries over 21 million barrels of oil a day. Block that for a week and your gas station runs dry. Shelves go empty. Ports freeze. That's not speculation. It's history. We saw it back in 2012 when just the rumor of a blockade made oil spike 25% in 5 days. So no, the US isn't jumping into another Middle East conflict out of habit. It's stepping in to stop an economic time bomb. Because Iran doesn't need to win a war, it just needs to block the faucet. And if that happens, the entire global system cracks. Then came the market warning. June 23rd, Goldman Sachs released a report saying if Iran halved flows through the Strait of Hormuz for even 1 month, Brent crude could hit 110. And if disruption continued, the pain would stretch for 11 more months. A 52% chance. That's what markets gave Iran actually attempting that? This wasn't just fear, it was a trigger warning. Goldman said a $12-20 per barrel risk premium was already baked in. That means even if nothing else happens, you're still paying more for gas, food, airfare, and electricity. And if Iran follows through, we're staring at an energy crisis on a global scale. But here's where it gets colder. Iran is not doing this alone. Reuters reported that between June 1st and 20th, China imported a record 1.8 million barrels per day of Iranian oil. That's nearly 90% of Iran's entire output. They're not doing it out of friendship, it's profit. Because with Iran desperate to sell under sanctions, China's teapot refiners scoop up that crude at a $3 to $4 discount per barrel over weeks. That's a windfall of $5 to $7 million a day, and that adds up fast. But this goes deeper than discounts. In 2021, China and Iran signed a 25-year energy and security pact. China gets cheap oil, Iran gets hard currency, and both of them get one thing: leverage over the West. China helps run the ghost fleet, ships with fake names, shell companies out of Panama or Hong Kong. Sometimes they even disable their AIS tracking altogether. That crude ends up at Chinese ports hidden in plain sight. Iran's regime gets paid, sanctions get sidestepped, and the missiles keep getting built. Backdoor deals. No banks, no SWIFT, just front companies and black market intermediaries. In Singapore, in Qatar, in Shanghai. That's how Iran keeps funding its war economy and China. It gets to undermine Western power while locking in cheap energy. The darker truth, conflict makes this shadow empire richer. Every drone strike, every rerouted tanker, every Houthi attack, all of it makes oil riskier. And that means prices rise, which means more profit for China's importers and more money for Iran's military. Now zoom out. Back in 2012, just the rumor of a blockade in Hormuz caused oil to jump 25% in 5 days. And now, Iran has deployed newer anti-ship missiles near Jask, they've mined key shipping zones, and they've started jamming satellite signals near underwater cable routes. And just 1 day after the June 13th missile strike, Iranian drones were spotted shadowing commercial tankers. By June 15th, Chevron suspended Gulf operations. By June 18th, Maersk followed. Crude was already over $100. It's not fear-mongering, it's math. 21 million barrels a day move through that straight. Block it for even a week and you're looking at stock market crashes, supply chain freezes, and empty ports. This isn't theoretical, it's economic warfare. And behind all this, there's something even murkier: the oil mafia. A black market empire that thrives on chaos. Tankers with no manifests, signals turned off, deals brokered in cash or crypto. These aren't just smugglers, these are war profiteers. Middlemen, rogue states. Some with ties to sanctioned regimes, others with unofficial ties to major powers benefit quietly from the instability. This system moves tens of billions, and it only works when the world is scared. So yeah, the missiles have paused, but don't mistake silence for peace. Israel won't back down. Iran won't retreat. And the US? It can't afford to look away, because when energy is threatened, global power shifts. And here's the scary part. The next world war might not be about land, or religion, or ideology. It might be about water, control of shipping lanes, access to straits, the Strait of Hormuz, the South China Sea, the Suez Canal. Wherever oil flows, power follows. Because if your Costco run feels more expensive, if your paycheck feels thinner, if your rent keeps climbing, it's not just inflation, it's war, it's energy, it's geopolitics hitting your wallet. This is Filthy Rich. We break down how global chaos bleeds into your bank account. And if this helped you understand why a missile over Tel Aviv can spike your gas tank or shake your 401k, hit subscribe to get in-depth analysis about world leaders, billionaires, finance, and how they shape the global economy. Because in 2025, distance is just an illusion. And yeah, it's all connected.